On this episode, Ed and I each set out 3 goals for ourselves to hopefully make us better expats in 2024.
So if you need some inspiration to learn, do, or see something that'll up your game as an expat, you'll love this episode of the Bangkok Podcast.
Sawadee Pimai, and welcome to Season 7 of the Bangkok Podcast. My name is Greg Jorgensen, a Canadian who came to Thailand in 2001 and is still a bit miffed that even as we pass into the far future of 2024, hover tuk-tuks are as far away today as they were when I got here.
How do you know that, man? They could be coming. You know, Elon Musk is on top of the hover tuk-tuk problem.
Yeah, I'll believe that when I see it.
And I'm Ed Knuth, an American who came to Thailand on a 1-year teaching contract 23 years ago. Fell in love with practically tripping over the giant monitor lizards in Lumpini Park while on a walk or a run, so I never left.
You sent some pictures of your walk the other day. They were pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's amazing how consistent the monitor lizards are. Basically, pretty much every time you go to Lumpini, if you keep your eye out, you will see monitors. It's weird. There's a lot of them, but they tend to stick next to the klongs, next to the canal. So they typically don't wander on the path, while people are jogging.
Not a lot. One of our friends did a really cool thing that I think is a great idea. If you want to get some good photos, go to like Tesco or something like that and go to the butcher department and buy some fish heads and fish guts for like 50 baht and then go and throw them by the klong and then wait for 10 minutes and you'll have all of like the big boys coming out of the water for their meal.
Good idea. That's a good idea. I just love I just love monitors. I think they look like dinosaurs, and I love the way they walk. They walk. They kind of bend their body, side to side. They pretty
walk like George Jefferson, like they're cool.
They're pretty prehistoric. But anyway, that's something I like about Thailand. Monitor lizards.
Their scientific name is Varanus salvator. I don't know why that stuck in my brain, but it did.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we want to give a big thanks to all of our patrons who support the show. Patrons get every episode a day early, behind-the-scenes photos of our interviews, a heads up to send questions to upcoming guests, and access to our Discord server to chat with me, Greg, and other listeners around the world. But best of all, patrons also get an unscripted, uncensored bonus episode every week where we riff on current events and Bangkok topics. On this week's bonus show, we chatted about our New Year's Eve festivities in Bangkok, Greg's thoughts on his recent trip to Japan and how Bangkok compares to Tokyo, and what to do when the police are no help when dealing with a particularly threatening and potentially dangerous neighbor, a situation one of our friends is dealing with right now, unfortunately. To learn how to become a patron and get all this good stuff, plus full access to over 700 bonus and regular back episodes, click the support button at the top of our website.
Yeah, and don't forget, if you listen to us on Spotify, you can now hear all of the bonus shows there as well. If you're a patron, simply link your Patreon account to your Spotify account and add our new feed titled Bangkok Podcast Badass Patrons Only to hear the regular and bonus shows in the same place. All right, on this episode, seeing as this is the first episode of Season 7 and the first episode of 2024, what do you call that, Ed? You call that what's the word?
That is serendipitous.
Serendipitous, that's the word I was trying to think of. It is pretty serendipitous. So we thought it'd be appropriate to start the year off right with some resolutions. Now, normally these are things that will help you improve yourself in some way, but we wanted to focus specifically on how to improve yourself as an expat in Thailand, with Ed and I volunteering ourselves as guinea pigs. And we wanted to avoid the normal pitfall of being overly vague, like, I'm going to learn Thai, or I got to go to the beach more. So we've each come up with 3 specific challenges or goals for ourselves that will up our game and make us better expats. Now, Ed, I know you and I disagree somewhat on my view that we are all in some way ambassadors for all expatdom, but I think even if you don't think that way, this is still a good first step for 2024. What's your take on this?
I agree 100%. I don't really see myself as a diplomat, but in this case, I think the goal is to get more out of being an expat. So, I do want to become a better expat, but I'm not thinking about it in terms of Like, I'm going to be a more moral expat. Who wants to do that? I don't want to do that. But I do want to take advantage of more that Thailand has to offer. You and I have done a bunch of different shows about new things to do in Thailand, or we've talked about getting stuck in a rut. I think this is one of the biggest problems of being an expat is you just get in well, it's not even necessarily a rut. Like, you might be happy, quote unquote,
with a comfortable rut.
Yeah, like you're just happy in your bubble of friends, and there's nothing wrong with cruising along for a while. But my problem is that sometimes I just go years, and I'm really just doing the same thing. I go to work. I might exercise, or I go to my film club or my blues bar, and that's it. That's 5 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess there's nothing wrong with that, but if you want to get the most out of Thailand, you got to try new things and push yourself and become a better expat. So that's what this show is all about.
Right.
And
making it specific too. Like we said, everyone wants, like, I'm going to learn Thai. Like, yes, of course your life will be better if you learn Thai, but that's a really vague, amorphous thing. It's not a goal, right? It's like,
that's right.
I'm going to lose weight. Okay, well, sure, we all should probably lose a little bit of weight, but how are you going to do it?
And I agree with you 100%. I think this is one of the biggest pitfalls for New Year's resolutions is that it's just something vague, and then that makes it less likely you're actually going to do it. So I am going to talk a little bit about my Thai language goals, but I've got a specific I got a specific goal thing I'm going to try to achieve. So you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. Now, we're starting small here, so we're not going to like plan out the next whole year of things that we want to do like month by month or week by week, but let's just start off small with something, and then we'll see where that leads. So I've got 2 goals for myself. Now, you and I have talked a lot about how to understand a culture, you really need to understand the pop culture of a place. And it also ties into learning about history and things like, music and movies and things like that. So I've got 2 things that I'm going to do to help myself understand sort of the entertainment pop culture side of Thailand a little bit. The first one is to finally read The Falcon of Siam, the famous novel.
I don't even know what it is, dude. What is it?
Oh, you don't know that? Well,
I vaguely have heard of it, but I don't really know much about it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, from what I know, there was a guy named Constantine Falcon, I think was his name, and he was in the 1600s, the 1700s. He was a Portuguese, I think. Again, I may be way off here, but he was sort of like an early expat in the very early days of the Ayutthaya kingdom, and he became a very well-known, important person and led quite the adventurous life in the court of Siam at the time. So, I think that it's a very famous novel. I think there's several of them in the series.
I want to be clear. Now, this is a novel based on a true story is what you're talking about.
Well, it's kind of a mix of both. It takes the real story of this guy. By the way, I think he was Greek. I said Portuguese. I think I'm Greek or Spanish. I can't remember. He's one of these guys, one of these early explorers. But anyway, it takes like his true story and maybe weaves in a little bit of takes a little bit of license with the adventure part of the story. But anyway, it's a very famous book that takes place in the early Ayutthaya kingdom, and I've never read it, so that's what I'm going to do.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Yeah. The next thing I'm going to do is watch a movie called The Overture. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, man. The last Thai movie I saw I think it was BTS Love Story, which was like 12 years ago.
That's pretty funny.
Which is embarrassing. Not because it was a BTS Love Story, which by the way I thought was a very sweet and charming movie, but it's been way too long since I've seen a Thai movie. I'm just being a snob about this. So I looked up some movies that I want to watch, and I don't like ghost movies, horror movies. I'm too scared of that. I'm a giant wimp. But this movie stood out to me. I checked some Reddit threads, and check this out. This is the plot summary. It said, based on the life of Luang Pradit Pairot, the most revered traditional Thai music master who lived during the reigns of Kings Rama V to VIII, the movie traces the life of Son, who picked up the Ranat Ek, the Thai xylophone, the one that goes dum 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 dum.
Sure.
as a small child and played all his life. The backdrop of Soren's life tells a story of Thailand's classical music from its golden age during the reign of King Rama V to near extinction after the end of absolute monarchy, when the government banned it as uncivilized in the 30s, a time when Plak Pribun Songkram tried to push the kingdom into the modern era. The film shifts back and forth from the time when Soren was a young man playing on a xylophone duel with intense Kun In to the 1940s when Thailand was under Japanese occupation, and Soren's playing would provide some inspiration to the oppressed citizenry.
Cool.
So it sounds really interesting. I saw the trailer online. It looks really cool. Everyone says it's a really good movie, so I'm going to watch it.
Nice. Our goals, our resolutions overlap a little bit. So let me talk about my Thai language project, is what I'm calling it. So, like we said before, I don't want to be general and just say, "Hey, I'm going to study Thai more." So, in December, I was trying to come up with a specific plan. I did some reading. Like I mentioned before, I like that Facebook group called Farongs Can Learn Thai. Right. And I mentioned before, on that group, there's a PDF that they pass around that is, I think it's up to 9,000 now, and it's something like 9,000. I think it's called Useful Thai Expressions, and the whole premise of the PDF is that these are phrases based on how Thai people actually talk in the real world. These are phrases that the author picked up in his real life. It doesn't come from a Thai textbook, which often can be phrased in a very formal way that it is not indicative of how Thai people actually talk. This is a very popular PDF. We can even give a link to it, listeners, if you're interested. But my goal is to 5 hours a week. And what I have done is I've gotten a buddy of mine to actually read these expressions in Thai, right? And what I want to do is I actually have already deleted from the PDF the English transliteration, which when I studied Thai in the past, 20 years ago, I did learn the Thai characters, but there always was the English next to it. So, Sawadi, S-A-W-A.
Right.
And, I think if you're a short timer, if you're in Thailand 6 months or a year and then you're gone for sure, then I think you should use the English characters. Like, there's no point in learning to read Thai if you're going to be in and out of here in a year. But I think for long timers, or you and I who are trying to move from beginner Thai people to intermediate Thai, I think if you want to be an intermediate Thai person, you have to see Thai letters when you speak Thai. Because
100% agree. Yeah.
Like when I speak Thai now, like if I say Sukhumvit, in my head I see SUKHU. I still see English characters, and so I think that's really holding me back. So my thing is, I will just have the Thai language, Thai characters, and then my buddy saying it out loud, and so then I can see it, hear it, and then say it. That's my thing. See, hear, say. See, hear, say. And I'm just, I don't want to, I think another pitfall of New Year's resolutions is that you just make the goal too high. Like, I'm going to exercise every day,
Right.
So
I'm going to go vegan this year, whatever.
That's right. I think 5 hours a week it's not nothing, but it's not insane. It's not like, I think if I said, I'm going to study Thai 2 hours a day, bullshit. Like, no,
it's not going to happen, right?
I'm never going to do that. But I'm going to go 5 hours a week, see, hear, say. That's it. That's my Thai language goal. 5 hours a week. That's it.
It makes all the difference, man. And it was a huge one for me when I saw a word, like you see the word lab, like L-A-R-B, labmu, and to the new person, they would go larb.
Right,
larb.
Of course.
Or you see sing beer, singha.
Right. Well, I still do that sometimes. That's the problem, is that
But when you get to the point where you're able to say, like, how do I say it properly, and let me read the Thai?
Correct.
That's really powerful. So then you can say sing and not sing.
So the long-term goal is just to kind of exorcise, like the Exorcist, to get rid of the Western alphabet. That's my Thai language goal for the year.
Right. Power of the Thai language compels you.
That's great. All right. What's your second goal?
Well, the second one is something that's quite personal to me and might not apply to a lot of people, but I don't know if you've heard of this place, Ed. Well, I think you have, because you were at my wedding. I happened to get married at this place. In Thai, it's called Siam Samakom. but in English, more popularly known as the Siam Society.
Sure. I do know it. I have been there, but it has been a while. I think the last time I went was your wedding, which was quite a long time ago. I think the Siam Society is great, but like you're right. It's like I basically never go.
Right. Now, to read from their website, the Siam Society under royal patronage was established in 1904 with a mission to promote knowledge of the culture, history, arts, and natural sciences of Thailand, as well as those of neighboring countries. The Society's activities are guided by its motto, knowledge gives rise to friendship, and it welcomes visitors of all nationalities, including non-members, to visit its facilities and join its activities. Now, the Siam Society is a great little place down on Asok, and just steps from the BTS station and the subway station. And I've been a member for like 8 years.
Wow.
I have an annual membership. It costs about 3,500 baht, which is not much. And I have not taken advantage of being a member. And I'm going to work on that this year. I'm going to take more.
That's a good goal. I like that goal. I mean, I feel like I should add that to my list. The Siam Society is very popular with academics. There's a lot of professors that hang out there. Obviously, professors do give talks. So I kind of feel like I should do it, and then I just don't. But it's a worthy endeavor.
They've got a great library with like tons of old books and magazines from all like way back in the day. They give regular presentations, everything from like textiles and old ceramics to language and movies and books. They do like field trips where they organize these excursions where you can go and visit certain places. Some of them are simple, like going to some temples in Bangkok. Some of them are a bit more lofty, like going to visit, like Bhutan or something like that.
Sure.
But it's a great organization. And I've been a member because I really support what they do, but I've never really taken advantage of it. So this year, that's one of my goals. I'm going to get down there more often.
Agreed. I support that. It's good idea.
Nice.
My second goal also overlaps a little bit with yours because I used to try to watch Thai movies. And this is in my first 5 years or so. I thought Thai movies were interesting and different, and I made an effort to watch them, always with English subtitles, of course. And then I just stopped doing it. Like I don't know why. It was kind of a new thing, and I'm like, oh, I got to watch these movies. And then, we've talked about it before. If you ask me, are Thai movies really good in general? I'm going to just say no. I'm going to keep it real. I don't think they are good in general, but there is a fairly big movie industry here, and there's definitely gems, and there are really good Thai movies worth watching. And so my project, again, I'm trying to be specific about this. So what I would like to get to the point, I'm nowhere near this yet. Who knows? Maybe by the end of the year, if my language project goes well. But I really would like to be able to watch a Thai movie with Thai subtitles in Thai.
Interesting.
So in December, a few weeks ago, when I was thinking about my language goals, I did a little research, and I was trying to figure out based on the research, like what works. There's so many different theories about how to learn a language, and we've had Stu J on, and his thoughts. And one thing I came across is it was just kind of a theory that has some support in actual academic literature, that people learning English, they do really well watching English language movies with English language subtitles. So you're hearing it and seeing the letters at the same time.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want to get to. I don't think I'm ready for that yet, but my thing was to pick the 10 best Thai movies, and I started the list already. And you and I have friends who are experts in Thai movies. But I feel like you said about knowing the pop culture of a country, I feel like I should know the 10 most famous Thai movies, or the 10 movies that Thai people love, or that all Thai people know. I don't even, and so I'm just going to choose 10 of those, and I'm going to watch them at first with English subtitles, listening, but then reading the English. And then my goal is to get to the point where once I know the film and I know everything that happens, then I can switch over to the Thai subtitles.
Interesting. Good for you. That's really good. Yeah, and when I was teaching, I met so many of my students who were really good at English, and I would say, "How did you learn English?" Like, I just watch TV with subtitles, English, Western TV
That's right.
with English
Yeah,
subtitles.
I think it works. I'm not ready for it yet, but this has the double goal of, I'm a movie guy. I teach a film class. I hang out at a film club, and I do know some Thai films, but it's a weakness. I just should
Right.
know. I should know more famous Thai films.
Yeah, that's good, man. 10 is good. And I should say also, like my first one, I chose one book and one movie, which is pretty anemic. But once I get those out of the way, I will continue doing that. So
Heck yeah.
another one. So
Heck yeah.
it's just that I read really slowly.
All right. What's your third thing?
All right, my third thing is sort of a continuation of visiting the Siam Society, but I've decided that I want to join some clubs. Now, you and I have talked previously about how both of us have lived here for 20 plus years, and we have almost no or very few male Thai friends.
Correct.
And it's I'm not laying blame. Obviously, a huge part of it is my fault as well, because maybe I just don't get out there too much. So
Sure.
there's two types of clubs that I really want to join. The first one is archery.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've always been interested in archery, and there's some really cool archery clubs and
Have
ranges
you ever done it
in-
before?
I tried it once in high school and never since then. I thought it was really cool. And I've done lots of archery on like video games, so I think I'm pretty good at it. And also I found, this is super geeky, but I've always had a real interest in Japanese bladed weapons, katanas and wakizashi,
Oh, cool.
and tantos and things like that, which was really piked during my recent trip to Japan. And I did some Googling around, and there's actually some really interesting knife making clubs and blade
Really?
making clubs in Thailand. Yeah, like
Really? Is this mostly Thai people or mostly foreigners? You're saying Thai people because you want to meet Thai people.
Yeah, no, like Thai blacksmiths. They have like they make these. Some of them make these gorgeous knives that are crazy creative, and they've got clubs and competitions for like chopping wood and stuff like that. So I'm gonna really make an effort to get out, join some of these clubs, and maybe try to make some friends.
I like that
Thai
idea.
friends,
Honestly, it sounds funny, but for a guy, a Western guy who's an expat in Thailand, having a goal of having Thai male buddies, that is a legitimate goal. I mean, it's
almost a merit badge.
It is. I think it is a merit badge. And I obviously, you and I do know Thai people, and I have the advantage. I'm at university getting to know some of my students. But man, in general, I think it's a pretty hard thing to do. So I like that you're combining it. You have a strategy, of how to do this. You're not going to just put yourself out there like, hey, I want a Thai buddy. Anyone free? Like,
wants to be my friend.
You can just make a post on like
Make a post on
classified
Craigslist.
Make a Craigslist post. Anybody want to be my friend?
Yeah.
No, I like the plan.
Yeah, I think it's a good one. And of course, I'm pretty limited by my time. Basically, weekends are the only time I have to do this. And then I've also got kids' duties and family duties and stuff like that.
Sure.
So it might take some time, but I'm going to work at it.
Excellent. Cool.
Yeah. What's your third one?
Well, my third thing actually relates to the number 3. You and I mentioned, I think I read about this, and then I brought it up in one of our shows a few months ago, this idea of having a third place to go. And this comes from some study on happiness, and it was about how, we all have a home, and most people have a workplace. And some studies showed that people who had a third place to go and hang out and feel comfortable, they're happier, or this is like a good thing to do. And I have some. So when I read this, I'm like, I have that. I've got my blues bar, I've got my film club. But then I realized that I'm going to each of those for more than 10 years. Actually, the film club maybe around 9, but the blues bar is much longer. And so my third goal is to find a new third place. Actually, technically for me, it would be my third place. I want to find like a new hangout. So in a way, it's a little bit like you're joining a club thing, except I just want to find somewhere else to go and hang out where I can just talk to people. Like, the one thing I like about my blues bar and my film club is that people know me there, and we can just hang out and chat. It's just a place to hang out. but I don't have any other place to do that. I mean, I go to bars, but but that's more like going with friends and with that specific thing. It's not like, and it doesn't matter what bar we're in. So I want to find another place to hang. So this is a little, I guess this is a little more vague. This is a little bit dangerous because I guess it's kind of vague, but I just want somewhere else to go. Like we said in kind of the opening, I don't necessarily feel like I'm in a rut. I'm somewhat happy, but happiness could also just be complacency, and what makes Bangkok interesting is discovering some new thing. So I need a new third place.
Cool. I'm curious if this is coming from when you looked at your Google history, because I know you're a huge Google guy, and you like looking at your Google, like your travel patterns.
My timeline.
Did you see, a triangle that was like your home.
It's the same thing.
Your university, and then the blues bar.
No, it's like, no, seriously. That's that's literally exactly that does happen. It's just I'm in a groove. I would not call it a rut. I'm in a groove, but if sometimes it's good, even if you're kind of happy. Sometimes it's good just to push it a little bit. And I just want another option. I want another place I can go and hang out.
That's great. No, that's great. That's a great one. That's a good one. I like it. But you don't know what it is yet, right?
No, I don't. I mean, where I live, there's not really neighborhood bars. When I used to live on Ratchada, I could get to Fatty's, which is an excellent kind of American style bar, kind of hole in the wall with excellent food and burgers. Back in the day, we had Matt Fisher of Fatty's on the podcast. I can't remember what episode that was. And so that was a third place because I could just hang out there. They had good music and good food. So it was a neighborhood bar, kind of my cheers, so to speak. But that was a long time ago. So
you walked in and everyone went, Ed.
That's right. Yeah. Right. And they're like, oh shit, it's Ed again.
No.
But
turn the music down a scooch. Thanks.
Yeah, that's right. I don't really have the neighborhood bar option where I live, so I don't think that's going to work. But I got to come up with something. So we'll talk about this later. So maybe in a few months we'll do a New Year's resolution update if we're not too ashamed.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Well, maybe I'll meet you at the archery club. Who knows?
Yeah, well, it could work. It might work.
So there we go. There's 3 little sort of resolutions or ideals or promises that Ed and I have made to ourselves that we're going to try and improve our expat footprint, our street cred,
our expatology.
That's right. Our relevance to being long-termers in Thailand. And I think they're good ones. I think they're going to make us smarter, better social creatures and more interesting to the people that surround us. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
We shall see.
We shall see. All right, let's check in with our new segment for Season 7 that we call Idiom Proof, where we introduce our listeners to one of the many funny and creative Thai idioms that we have come across. Now, back in the day when I was teaching, I found idioms to be a fun and creative way to get my students to dig a little bit deeper into Western culture, so we thought it'd be fun to do it the other way around. To help us with proper pronunciation, we've asked our friend Bank to pronounce this week's idiom for us first, and we will discuss it as best we can and hopefully learn a thing or two. So here is Bank with our first idiom.
กินบนเรือนขี้บนหลังคากินบนเรือนขี้บนหลังคา
So Ed, I chose this one because, like a lot of Thai wordplay, it's a little bit edgy. It's got a little, I've talked about this before. I used to tweet about it actually, about how a lot of Thai idioms and common popular phrases are all about shit. You have, kita, kihu, ki, fan.
Yeah.
It's all like tooth shit, ear shit, eye shit. And so I thought this one was pretty funny, and Bank said it the right way, and I'm going to probably mangle it. But Gin bon ruan, ki bon langka literally means to eat in the house and shit on the roof. And,
I love it.
It's a roundabout way of saying that you as a guest are ungrateful.
So basically it means being a poor guest.
Yeah. Like if Ed invited me to dinner at his house and I went over there and had a great time and then I left and I said to one of our mutual friends, I was like, man, Ed's place stinks like ass. Say,
if you actually shat on the roof, that would make you a poor guest, I think.
You have thrown some wild parties. Or, but if someone shows you hospitality and you leave and badmouth them, you can say, oh, ginbon ruan kibon langka.
I love it. All right, there you go. Idiom number 1, folks.
Idiom proof. I love it. Hopefully you won't have to say that about anyone you know, because I don't think it's a very positive thing. But
Right.
it sure is descriptive.
For sure. Alrighty, a final thanks to all of our patrons who support the show. Patrons get a ton of cool perks and the warm, fuzzy feeling knowing that they're helping in our never-ending quest for cool content. Find out more by clicking support on our website. And connect with us online. We're Bangkok Podcast on social media, bangkokpodcast.com on the web, or simply bangkokpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from our listeners and always reply to our messages.
That's right, we do. You can also listen to each episode on YouTube. You can send us a voicemail through our website that we'll feature on the show. Hit me up on threads at BKKGreg. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy New Year to you all, and we'll see you back here next week.
For sure. In the States, I'm sure it's actually the same in Canada, but in the States, it's like the return policy is freaking great. Like if 30 days, no questions asked. And then when it's under warranty, you could just get an exchange, so you walk in, they verify it doesn't work. They just give you a new one. So you don't have to.
One time I bought a little beard trimmer. I took it home, but I wanted out because I was broke at the time. So I bought the cheapest one I could find and I took it home. And of course it was a piece of crap. So I was like, I need to return this. So what I did was I broke the guard on it, and I was going to go back and be like, it was broken when I opened it, and they took it out, and she's like, okay, let me see. But I used it once, and I forgot to open it up and clean the hairs from inside. So she opened it up, and it was full of beard hairs. She's like, this is used. I'm like, no, it's not. And she's like, what's all this then?
Funny. Once I bought an audio recorder for the short film I made, and I just bought it in the morning. We shot the short film, this audio recorder, and then I just took it back after we shot the short film. It's 30 days, no questions asked. So I'm like,
that's guerrilla filmmaking, man. That's the Robert Rodriguez school of filmmaking.
I could have kept it. I just did it in one day. Just bought it in the morning, shot the film in the afternoon, stopped by Best Buy on my way home, and returned it.
Nice. All right. Sawadee krap. Oh, actually, I should start with Sawadee Pimai, right?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Sawadee Pimai, and welcome to the Bangkok Podcast. My name is Greg Jorgensen. Wait, I say season 7.